Hi there, I'm Jake. Nice to meet you. What do you do? If you can't answer that for your design firm in a single, succinct sentence, this episode is going to be perfect for you. Stay tuned. Giving architects and landscape architects the tools and strategies to be seen, heard, and valued in the marketplace, and telling the stories of leaders building thriving design firms and attracting their ideal clients. This is From Architecture to Profitecture. I'm your host, Jake Krakowski. Let's get started. Future and fellow Profitex, hello, how are you? Welcome to the show. Today we're talking about your front page headline, your introduction. And no, that's not just shaking hands at networking events when we're allowed to go back to them. We're digging into your online introduction, to your online headlines, be that in your website or your social media profiles or any piece of content that you may be putting out there to market your firm, to appeal and attract your ideal potential clients. So we want to talk today about not only how you're structuring the headlines of your content as you go to post, but also how are you introducing your firm. And I want to drag up the notion here that actually right now, as you're listening to me on the podcast, if you're watching the video, as you're watching me, you're introducing yourself right now. Right now. Someone's visiting your LinkedIn profile right now. Someone's visiting your website right now, and you are making an introduction. You're making a first impression. How is that impression going? How is that attracting your ideal clients? And when I go through a few strategies here, I had the opportunity this week to be on a live session with Clay Hebert, based in San Diego, as a branding and marketing wizard, honestly, and was able to get a little one-on-one consultation on my own branding. And he made some good points. And his talk was really about crafting the perfect introduction for different situations. And that's more of a personal introduction. But I wanted to translate that today. And how does that work for our online marketing as design firm owners? So to jump right in for a few strategies here, and something that you'll see on a lot of architectural websites is the overuse of industry jargon and buzzwords. And I mean to the extreme, to a fault almost. We have so many years of practice, yes, but also training and being indoctrinated by different online publications and websites, and just being in studios with other folks that think and act just like us. It's not a bad thing per se, but when you go out into the world and now you're trying to appeal to homeowners or business owners or C-suite executives, they don't speak the same language. And it's not enough that we often confuse them with our design contracts, but in our forward-facing marketing and our forward-facing websites, well, we're confusing. A lot of designers are confusing people right off the bat, so much so that they may not even pick up the phone. They may not even start that email out to us. So relying on your knowledge of industry jargon, that you're able to cram as many words into that about me page or the above the fold section on your website's homepage, that doesn't necessarily serve you. It may serve you in terms of status amongst your design professional peers, but for a lot of our potential clients, they don't understand what we do because we're not explaining what we do in their language. We're speaking German or Japanese to them when they are speaking English or French. So that's one thing I wanted to touch on here, and a good acronym to keep in mind with that is KISS. I've heard it keep it simple, stupid, or keep it short and sweet is the PG version of it. But that's one thing to consider. I have a few examples. I thought I'd just throw them out there. One thing or some examples of about pages or intros that could be, that I found downright confusing. And especially if you are a decision maker looking to select an architecture or landscape architecture professional, well, take a listen to these. We seek to transcend the traditional boundaries of spatial design and urbanism. Okay. We embrace the challenges of today while striving to design for modalities of the future. Imagine somebody came up to you, and I hate the term elevator pitch, but someone came up to you at a conference or at a networking event, or heck, they reached out to you on the phone to interview you, and that was your response. Say, how do you think we could work together? And one of those were your responses. Goodness, we revere the past yet embrace the future. So you're architects, or you're historians, or what are you? What do you do? Here's the final one. We deliver pragmatic utopian architecture that steers clear of the petrifying pragmatism of boring boxes and naive utopian ideals of digital formalism. Holy moly. So you are an architecture firm. Okay. We have to really sink our teeth into the notion that clients don't speak the same language. They don't necessarily think the same way we do, even though they are desperately searching for the outcomes that we provide. And in so many conversations that I hear online and out with folks, again, when we were able to network in person, is they don't understand what we do. They don't understand the value that we bring to the project. Guys, it's our fault. It's our fault because we're not speaking their language. We're not speaking clearly enough, and we're not speaking clearly enough for them to see the end picture. Now, the next point, this leads right into the next point. Your introduction, your headline should have a bit of intrigue versus just stating information, versus just listing the services that you provide, like a menu at a restaurant, and listing not the scope of services, but the phases of design, because a lot of times clients don't understand the phases of design, what the difference between 90% schematic design and 30% design development are. Even though we do, they don't see the difference, and they don't understand why they should be paying for it, is the bigger point there. But you may want to leave a little intrigue in your introduction. And yes, certainly face-to-face, if you can practice and perfect that face-to-face, that's a great conversation starter. Things like, we help restaurateurs go viral on Instagram. And then just stop, just quiet. And they're going to wonder, well, gosh, how do you do that? And then you start to explain your style or your approach to restaurant architecture and tenant upfits. Oh, okay. Wow. That's a great tagline. Or, I transform real estate listings into architectural digest feature stories. That's a hook. That's not just, I redesign houses. That provides some level of intrigue, but again, you can take it too far. You can, once you start to throw in those buzzwords and jargon, it goes too far, and they start to glaze over. they're not following you. They then see you as just another architecture firm, or they see you as an architect with their head in the clouds, and therefore their pricing in the clouds too, and they may be completely turned off by that. That's not to say some clients won't seek that out because they want the best, or they want someone totally different. They want to brag about their architect. They're out there. But if you're not being crystal clear about who you help and how you help them and the results that you achieve, your percentage of success in getting those contracts signed, especially as a startup firm, they're going to be greatly reduced. So, just as a quick exercise to go through, at its shortest is, I help blank do blank. Start there. If you haven't gone through an exercise like this before, and you're looking to either revise or start fresh with a website or your social media profiles, I help blank do blank. Start there. Or we help if you're a firm with the staff, and you want to include the we pronoun in there. Start there. And the reason that we start with the word help is that's the point of being in business. Actually, you're solving problems, but you're solving problems for people. You're not just solving design problems to achieve that license or the grade in class or studio rather, as we were trained to do. Rather, you're helping people, you're helping consumers, or you're helping businesses solve their problems. So instead of saying we are, we are architects that specialize in blah, blah, blank. You want to highlight, you want to turn the focus onto your potential clients. We help, or we create ABC for, and then explain who your potential clients are. We transform ABC spaces for your clients. Those are all exercises you can go through. We help our ideal clients achieve a result. And then you need to flesh out who your ideal clients are and then the results that you achieve. And then, of course, that word help can change into we create or we assist certain clients or we transform certain spaces for clients. You can start to play with that as you go on. But if somebody were to give you, you have 5 seconds to respond, you have 1 sentence to respond. Can you do that? Can you truly do that? And are you willing to put that as the headline of your website or as the top of your Instagram profile? Because that speaks volumes. If you can pare all that down, especially all that jargon that I just said a few minutes ago. If you're able to pare all that down to who you help and how you help them, embellish a little bit, but not too much. It's first of all, it's so much easier for you to just, especially as you practice, to say it, and then try to gauge the result or the response rather. Do they understand what you're talking about? Do they even know that you're an architect or landscape architect, or are you still confusing them? You can tell by the look on their face. And why I wanted to have this discussion today was with online marketing, you don't get to see their face. If they're behind their computer screen, they're behind their set of Google listings, and they've got a furrowed brow and they're scrolling on to the next guy. You've lost, because you've got 3 seconds to hook someone. Certainly when they get onto your website, you may have a few more seconds than that because they've taken the plunge, so to speak, to move forward to your website. But in terms of a social media profile or a website above the fold, you've only got a few seconds to capture their attention. And then to take this a step further, as you're planning out your online content, whether that's blog posts, whether that's Instagram posts, whether that's articles that you submit to industry publications, the first sentence, if not the first few sentences, but the first sentence needs that hook. They need to understand that it's for them to read or to click further or to pick up the phone or to start that email to reach out to you to begin discussions on whether they're going to work with you or not. So the big picture here is, if they don't understand what you do, if they don't understand what your firm does, it's not their fault. It's not the AIA or ASLA's fault that they haven't done enough advocacy and outreach. It's our fault as firm owners that we haven't explained very quickly and very succinctly who we help and how we help them. So hope those tips or hope those points were helpful for you. If you want to talk any further about your firm's headline or your introduction, I'm happy to go back and forth with you on a DM, Facebook, LinkedIn, or Instagram at Jake Krakowski. And until next week, make it a great week, because our success is inevitable. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you stay up to date with future episodes. Connect with me on Facebook, Instagram, or LinkedIn at Jake Krakowski. And for show notes and much more, visit profitecturebydesign.com/podcast.